What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Blessing Adeoye Jr., the OKB.
What's up?
Screwed it up.
What's up, Greg? You got it close enough.
I'm so ready for a Widow Wednesday. I'm so ready for a Rogue one. That's what's in the old noggin. And then guess what? Gary calls me up and says, it's just, I got something very important to do. Notice it's not too important for him to cancel his Animal Crossing stream. Notice he's still playing Animal Crossing on Twitch.
Unfortunate. He probably has some meeting with Disney Plus that he has to figure out.
From here, let's get him in the DCEU. That's what I keep saying, because then I could backdoor into the DCEU as well. You know what I mean? I can ghost write through him.
Do we really want Gary Whitta to write a DC movie? Does that seem like his bag? Because I see Gary Whitta as more of the work he did with Rogue One. Right, incredible, great movie. Right? Does what worked for that movie work for a DC movie? Because I feel like Rogue One feels like, I don't know. You're right.
Rogue One was a good movie, and that would be different for DC. That would be very different for them to do. That's not what they. Yeah, we need to get Mick G in there. That's what we need. Do you remember Mick G?
No.
He made the Charlie's Angels movie back in the day, and then he was supposed to do a Superman movie, and then that fell through, of course. I was
gonna say, I thought he did the Doom soundtrack.
I'm sorry, what was that, Kevin, about?
The Charlie's Angels movie, good movie, you know?
Have you seen him as an adult, or is this just based on you and Tim being horny kids?
Horny kids. Horny
kids. Okay, just making sure I understood. Because Tim had a poster on his wall for Charlie's Angels, right?
No, Tim had 16 posters on his wall.
My apologies.
It was weird.
Well, thankfully he never grew out of that. Ladies and gentlemen, how about we talk about Animal Crossing and Doom not being able to be stopped, Nintendo making some COVID moves, and NASCAR going digital, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. You can give us your questions, your comments, your suggestions, put in your own squad up requests, and of course, get the show ad-free, along with that exclusive post show you can get nowhere else. If you don't have any bucks to toss our way, though, it's no big deal. You can watch us record the show live on twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe. I got a real desk now, Bus, so I can hit it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I got, Lucy James hand-me-downs over here.
That's great.
Is it? When are you? So, have you done this in the work from home life? Have you broken down, Bless, and you understand you need a desk, you need to sacrifice your gaming space over there?
I'm getting there, because I'm at the point where it's starting to sink in that this may be longer. This may last longer than we initially anticipated. What's up, Kevin?
You don't have to sacrifice gaming space, right? You have extra space where you can slide your bed over. Is that correct?
But yeah, if I slide my bed over, then I am sacrificing gaming space, because my gaming space is on the other side of my bed. Yeah, but here's the thing. I was legit looking this morning. I was looking around my room. I was like, what happens if I then turn this bed sideways, have it against the wall, and then maybe I can. There are options that I might have available to me that just might take. I just want you to think about it.
And the other thing is, do you really need a bed? You strike me.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I can just have a sleeping bag.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
It works for me in Animal Crossing, so
it does. You haven't gotten a bed in Animal Crossing yet?
No, I gotta check.
You gotta check. You're not sure?
I built a house, and I just haven't logged on since I built that house.
Wow. So are you over Animal Crossing?
No, it's just
busy with other things.
Just playing other games. This is a lot.
Division 2. You playing Division 2 yet?
No, I'm definitely not playing Division 2. Playing a lot of Beat Saber, actually.
Oh, okay. I'll allow that. Bless, let's get into some housekeeping. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Kinda Funny Gamescast has been killing it lately with reviews. Right now, you can get our takes on Half-Life, Alyx, Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, and more. YouTube.com/KindaFunnyGames, and of course, the Kinda Funny Gamescast podcast feed on podcast services everywhere. Also, heads up to you that Gregway is now live on Patreon.com/KindaFunny. This is our exclusive $1 show over on Patreon. It is actually doubles as the normal Gregway Q&A, where you can ask me anything under the sun, and an Animal Crossing Let's Play, because I just run around and show you my island and talk to you about stuff. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mohammed, a.k.a. Momo, Drew Gardner Fruities, Blackjack, and the Kinda Funny Destiny 2 PC clan. Today we're brought to you by QUIP and ExpressVPN, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 5 items on the Roper Report.
Baker's dozen.
And Kevin, I'm rude too. How are you? Are you good? How are you doing over there? I've talked to Blessing. We try to convince him to get a desk every day.
Yeah. No,
You're
I'm doing
good?
Great. I'm just sitting here waiting to get Blessing a desk. You know what I mean? I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
I'm
You
ready
want
to
to
go.
get out of the house.
I just need the green light.
Let me sit down this afternoon. Let me just really think about how far I want to push this bet over, and then maybe we can probably figure out this desk situation. I'm breaking.
Now, Kevin, if memory serves right, he is in your sister's house.
Yeah.
So you don't really need permission for any of this. You could just come in. You have keys.
Oh, yeah.
You can just come in there.
Yeah.
We can just throw the bet out. We can put the desk down.
Sure, 100%.
We can put on Division 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1 on the Roper Report. Animal Crossing is straight up fucking crushing it in Japan. Famitsu has a report out right now saying that the game has broken all sorts of records. Here's what Nibel reports, and we'll follow it up with Daniel Ahmad, of course, 2 industry insiders. Nibel says, Famitsu reports that Animal Crossing New Horizons has sold 1.8 million physical units in Japan, making it the best first week for a Switch game. By comparison, he has Pokemon Sword and Shield did 1.3, almost 1.4 if we were rounding up, because I'm not going into all the decimals they did here. And then Smash did 1.2. Switch has sold 392,576 systems during that time frame, the best week for the system. Daniel Ahmad doubles down on this with more context. First shipment plus digital sell-through for Animal Crossing New Horizons in Japan looks to have exceeded 2.5 million units in its first 3 days. Makes it the biggest opening for a Switch game in Japan and the best opening for an Animal Crossing series by far. Blessing Junior,
Jesus.
Are you shocked?
I'm very shocked because I don't think any of us saw this coming when we talked about this late last week.
I think we did it on Friday, right? We did it on Friday for the launch of on this very episode or show. You and me talking about this, comparing numbers, and you were saying right because we had pulled up the list of best-selling Switch games. Which
The question that was asked on that show was, will Animal Crossing be the best or be the fastest selling game on Switch? It's seeming that it is. From the Japan and UK sales that we've seen so far.
And that's the thing is you have to. Thank you very much. You bring up the UK stuff. You had talked about this on Mondays. I'm going to read it again in case you missed Mondays, and this is all in the same thing. Animal Crossing New Horizons has, and this is Christopher Dring at GamesIndustry.biz. Animal Crossing New Horizons has become a major hit in the UK. Nintendo's critically acclaimed sequel has sold more copies in its first week on sale than the launch sales of all previous Animal Crossing games combined, including the spin-offs. The launch is 3.5 times bigger than the last game in the series, 2013's Animal Crossing New Leaf on Nintendo 3DS, which was the previous biggest launch for the series. It is also the biggest single game launch on Nintendo Switch since the console came out, although if you combine sales of Pokemon Sword and Shield together, those games enjoyed a bigger first week. This only factors in physical sales. It does not include digital download numbers, which may have been higher than usual considering the concerns around COVID-19 that has seen the UK government recommend that citizens stay indoors. Nintendo does not share digital downloads externally. So yes, I think when you combine that with the UK, you combine it with Japan, and then extrapolate from personal experience right now. The fact that as an Animal Crossing fan, I was so stoked for this. Obviously, when I walked around the office to see who else wanted a code and nobody else did, it was just me and Joey. I was like, oh, that's weird. But to get to where it is now, where every tweet I see is about Animal Crossing, Jen and Lucy are showing me TikToks about Animal Crossing. The fact that you, Blessing, and Andy broke down and were like, I guess I should play this. I should try it out. Like, you imagine this is going to fucking be way bigger than even we thought, right?
And it makes me wonder how much the state of the world right now plays into it. Is it a thing where everybody is at home right now and seeing everybody else playing Animal Crossing, and then that just transfers over and everybody's just like, oh yeah, let's just all play this thing together? Is that what it is? Is there something about Animal Crossing between the release of New Leaf on the 3DS and New Horizons now? What was there a period of growth there as far as people knowing about Animal Crossing and people being curious about Animal Crossing and the success of the Switch console itself that is then lending to Animal Crossing blowing up in this way? Like there are multiple factors at play, but it's really cool to see that there's that Animal Crossing, a game that I would not have expected to have such a significant launch week, came out and has had one of the best launch weeks on Switch. Like that's crazy.
I think honestly, in a lot of ways, it's the perfect storm, because I think so many people have heard about Animal Crossing for so long, but have you had, and I'm not trying to even throw rocks here because obviously there's been a lot of successful Nintendo systems. That's not what I'm saying. Have you had a Nintendo system so beloved by gamers, right? Like everybody loved their 3DS, but it was something you could put down and walk away from and never think about, right? Like whereas like the Switch is such a different ball of wax in the way that you can take it with you. You can put, I mean, it's perfect right now. Here's what I want to do, and it's going to sound like I'm taking a left turn. Stick with me, all right? I saw a tweet from a games writer last night that I want to bring into this conversation. And I think it speaks to what you're talking about, Bless, of, hey, is this right time, right place kind of thing, obviously, with everything going on in COVID, right? Over on venturebeat.com, Mike Minotti, who I know from, showing up at events, covering stuff with and all that stuff, reviewed Half-Life Alyx, right? And his headline is this: Half-Life Alyx review, a great VR game for the wrong time. Reviewing Half-Life Alyx has been a stressful endeavor. Part of that is the usual rigors of critiquing a game, trying to beat it before a deadline. But this VR experience is landing at a time when a pandemic is taking hold over the world. So, I may already be a bit on edge. Bundle that with how playing VR can be uncomfortable and Alyx's more survival horror take on the franchise. And combine that with the more survival take on the franchise. And I often wish that I didn't have to play this game at this particular moment in history. Obviously goes on like that. I think it's a very interesting piece from Mike. It got brought to my attention when Mike put up this Twitter thread last night before I even knew about this that went like this. Oh my God, holy shit, stop emailing me, tweeting at me, or contacting me at all to tell me you're mad that I'm, quote, penalizing Half-Life Alyx for releasing during COVID, end quote. I'm sorry I tried to talk about how a game made me feel. Next time, I'll give you a plot summary and say something about very good level design or some shit. Look, it's not like I went, this game would be a 90, but because of COVID, it's now an 80. Mwahaha. The 80 is just what I felt the game deserves. I'm glad a lot of people love it and think it's revolutionary. I don't. It's okay. Trust me, I'm not that big of a deal. I know I shouldn't let this get to me, but this is a pretty rough time to have a barrage of strangers telling me that I'm unprofessional or bad at my job, all because of this insane idea of objectivity that doesn't make any sense. A lot packed into that I think is all really fascinating to discuss. But I think it's the other side of the coin to your argument that I agree with. That I think, yes, right now, people are being told to shelter in place. You're at your home. People are on self-quarantines. You are going to some extent stir crazy. And so you see everyone online playing this wholesome game where you go and catch bugs and plant flowers and live on this island and get to talk to people. And even though I don't think people are playing that game and like, oh, I'm socializing with the characters in Animal Crossing, the NPCs on my island, as much as you're playing that game and then socializing online or visiting each other's island or trading items or sending letters that are making it feel like you're not alone this time.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where it's so like it's low anxiety as far as like your feelings while playing that game. Like last night I booted up Bloodborne and I found it. Yeah, it was one of those things where I played. I cleaned out. I cleared out like a certain area real quick so I could level up one of my skills, and then I turned it off because right now that's not a game I want to be playing right now because that's
not the feel you need.
Yeah, to the same point of that Half-Life review that you just read, right? Like Bloodborne, excellent game. Playing it right now, I just don't feel like doing it because there's already so much stress in life in general. To just add a game that is purposely stressful, that is great because of how stressful it is to play, but that's not necessarily like the type of game I want to be playing. Whereas Animal Crossing is such an easy play for me. Beat Saber is such an easy play for me right now. I just finished up Untitled Goose Game last night, which is a super easy play, right? These are like games that are very chill, relaxing for the most part. I know Beat Saber is kind of probably like a different type of relaxing, but like feel good games.
Yeah, Beat Saber would be something like getting in that groove, getting in that zen. It's relaxing in the way Guitar Hero is relaxing when you're hitting all the notes on the highway.
Like it takes your mind off of what's going on right now. You get to just exist kind of in that matrix. And that's not to say that like, I'm not gonna play any hard action games right now.
Totally.
Because, like RE3 is gonna come out soon, which is another stressful game, and which is a game that actually honestly in this atmosphere that we're in right now, might be received a certain way. But when that game comes out, I'm gonna play it. I'm probably gonna love it because I loved RE2, and that's a game that I'm very much looking forward to. But I definitely understand the idea of like Half-Life Alyx being in this VR game that's super stressful. Is kind of hindering my experience with it right now in the situation that we're in. Whereas Animal Crossing, a game that is all about just hanging out,
and just chilling,
making
your island pretty.
Yeah, and like being outside and like, like the Animal Crossing is such a perfect game for the time we're in because of what it is. That I understand I understand this kind of communal experience that we're all having right now playing it. Especially when you look at celebrities playing Animal Crossing, right? I shout out, or I didn't shout out, but I pointed out Chrissy Teigen.
You put Chrissy Teigen on the map. I had never heard of her.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like how Kanye put
Don't even say it. Okay,
what's his name from the Beatles?
Paul
You know
McCartney.
what I'm talking about. Paul McCartney on the map. Yeah,
you'd never heard of Paul McCartney until Kanye West said
yeah. Kanye West is the one who put Paul McCartney on the map for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Kanye and Paul McCartney. Only one great song. But Chrissy Teigen is tweeting about it. Of course, Chrissy Teigen tweets about games in general. Like she's definitely like a video game player in her own life, and so that's not like a crazy thing. But I have been seeing people on Twitter who I would not have expected to be tweeting about video games so much, tweeting about Animal Crossing and how like asking how do I catch spiders and all this stuff, right? Like there is such a great shared experience with that game in terms of how you play it, in terms of since things happen on a daily cycle, a lot of people are just on the same day, and so people are like, okay, cool, let's all wait for tomorrow until the museum opens. Like that kind of experience I feel like plays well for everybody being stuck at home and communicating.
Sure, for this isolating time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Blessing, then I want to come back to the conversation we had on Friday. Where do you think this nets out in the top Switch games sold? Because remember, right now it's number, and I gave you a link, but if you're not a listener, I'm gonna give you a snapshot. I am gonna round up to the highest numbers here. Actually, no, I won't, because I'm gonna say I'm in a dumb Greg way. Anyways, number one, this is the top selling Switch games, best selling Switch games is according to the Wikipedia page. Number one, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 22.96 million. Number two, Smash Brothers with 17.68 million. Number three, Odyssey with 16.59 million. Number four, Breath of the Wild with 16.34 million. Number five, Pokemon Sword and Shield, 16.06 million. Number six, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee combined, 11.76 million. And then number seven was Splatoon 2, 9.81 million. When we did this last time, the argument you and I went back and forth on is Animal Crossing big enough to overthrow Pokemon, which has always been such a staple of a Nintendo handheld. And so where I think we both left it was that it would beat Let's Go at 11.76, but not beat Sword and Shield at 16.06.
Well, here's my thing. I'm still of the mind, because these numbers are reported December 31st, 2019. I'm of the mind that Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to make its way to number one, or maybe number one or number two at a certain point. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I had Animal Crossing comfortably above Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and then below Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I still don't know if I'm at the place where I find it hard to believe that Animal Crossing New Horizons is going to outsell Breath of the Wild at 16.34 million. That said, with how it's done so far, like I might let that up. I might say, yeah, it might be above Breath of the Wild, and I might put it above. I might put it at, I guess in that case, right? If in my mind, number one and number two are Pokemon Sword and Shield and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? Number three would be Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number four would be Super Mario Odyssey.
You're gonna give it Odyssey.
That's another one.
Because Odyssey's so close to Breath of the Wild. Remember, right now,
that's another
Odyssey,
thing.
16.59 million versus Zelda's 16.34 million.
Oh man,
right. And that's the thing is, like, as everyone who's ever listened to Greg Miller talk or watched like a podcast, I'm not the numbers guy, right? And so it's always so hard for me to predict this kind of thing. But based on these numbers right now, it is a fascinating question, and I don't see it slowing down. And the fact that every day now I see more people, and granted, this is all haphazard, but I see more people going, all right, fine, I'm buying this Animal Crossing, right? Like, I saw I think it was either last night walking Porty or the first thing today, like even like Emmett Watkins Jr. is like, hell yeah, man, I got my paycheck. I think I'm going to do this Animal Crossing. It's my first one. And I see so many people say that. This is my first one. I'm jumping in. What do I need to do? What would I know, right? Like, yeah, I don't know, man.
I think Animal Crossing is going to sit along the ranks of Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. I don't know like how those things are going to net out. Like Mario Odyssey is going to be above Breath of the Wild in terms of numbers because it's already surpassed it. But Animal Crossing is going to be in that sphere, right? It's going to be in that 3, 4, 5th spot sphere. Yeah. I'm going to say in the 16 million range. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking fascinating because you don't You figure, to your point, right, of like Pokemon's Sword and Shield still selling and probably way above the 16.06 million, right? Like when you look at this chart, what's interesting, of course, is the release dates. And you start thinking about, granted, I think the attach rate for Breath of the Wild, when you're buying a Switch, you were buying Breath of the Wild for the most part for the longest time, right?
Yeah.
And then when Odyssey came around and then Mario Kart and Smash, that's all happened as well. But you look at number 5 with Pokemon Sword and Shield being there, that's a November 15th, 2019 game, right?
Yeah.
As you're saying, these numbers are from December 31st, 2019. So it's a month and a half that it was able to put 16.06 on the board.
I definitely have Pokemon Sword and Shield being at number 1 for that reason, right? Like that game only had, at that point, had only been out for a month and a half, and it's already at number 5. And Pokemon is so popular, and those are the Sword and Shield cells together, also. Which is
of course. Well, of course. I mean, that's how Pokemon always does it, though. That's how they're always able to get in there and do that. But it's gonna be fascinating to see how that one nets out. But yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see where this Animal Crossing ends up and how much it continues to sell as well.
I also wonder what that means for Animal Crossing as a franchise and how Nintendo treats it, because this, I feel like for them, then takes Animal Crossing to another echelon as far as what their IP means to them and how they're going to treat their IP. Like, I wonder if at a certain point they're like, hey, why don't we treat Animal Crossing similar to Pokemon and make 2 versions? Because Animal Crossing by itself already sells well. Animal Crossing is probably an easy game to do the Pokemon thing and be like, all right, in Animal Crossing, let's just say Sword and Shield. In Animal Crossing Sword, your islands can get either pears or peaches, and then in Shield you can get apples or oranges, right? Like in what ways can they do those types of things where now you're gonna have to visit other people's islands? And
I mean, to this conversation of its continued sales, right? The other thing here is, and I know that this, you'll never have, once you have that, where our launch, it's a global event. It's, still the first weekend. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's ravenous for this game. What's going to be interesting is, as with any game, you're going to see people fall away of like, all right, well, I got sick of doing it. I only come back once a week and do this thing. Remember, like, April 1st is the bunny event that starts the Easter stuff. Like, Nintendo is already early on here showing us their commitment to doing season events. I shouldn't say seasonal stuff, events. Then you put in the normal Animal Crossing stuff of seasons. Like, it will be a big deal when summer comes. It will be a big deal when fall starts. It will be a big deal when winter comes. And suddenly, not only are there the changing seasons, the different bugs you can go in and get, all these different things, it'll then be this reignition, I should say, of people's curiosity in this game and what they loved about it and coming in and finding what improvements that they made. And so to your thing of how they treat this as a franchise, what gets interesting is, do these numbers then encourage them to make more in-game seasonal events, more community, like you're talking about, people are waiting. So on this one day, this one thing's happening. Like, it was Sky's birthday yesterday in Animal Crossing. And I don't know if Sky's one of your villagers, but Sky's one of my villagers. So I went to Sky's birthday party and I saw other people putting up birthday party photos from them. And so even that on that small scale gets you talking about, wait, how are you doing this? Why are you seeing this? And who's this character? It'll be fascinating to see if they try to monetize that going forward, which I don't think they will. If they will be more interested in, hey, let's tell you about the events coming up faster, and are we going to put more in there? Or what are they going to, like? It's really interesting what they're going to do with this, because they do have new fame with it.
For you, as somebody who is really into Animal Crossing, and I forget whether or not you played New Leaf and the ones before that.
New Leaf was the 3DS one?
Yeah,
I played that.
What do you want from Animal Crossing?
Right. So, I mean, I think it's easy. What I want from Animal Crossing is what we're getting. So you're asking in terms of games or events or DLC or what?
Like in terms of it all, right? Animal Crossing being as big as it is, or I guess rising to the level that it is.
Sure.
If you were at Nintendo and you were in charge of the future of Animal Crossing, with the idea that Animal Crossing is now amongst our top franchises.
Right.
How do we move forward with Animal Crossing? Greg Miller.
Well, I think they've nailed what the core. This is the best Animal Crossing there's ever been. I said that in our review. Kind of funny, Gamescast. Check it out. But there's obviously room for improvement. And I think I don't know how much you've seen of it or had it firsthand. The biggest problem with Animal Crossing New Horizons is the online, where it is bare bones in terms of what you can do when you're together, because it locks you out of placing things, crafting certain things. You can't buy things. I might be wrong about that one, actually. There's a bunch of things that you should be able, that are just like, why wouldn't I be able to do this? And you can't do it. And so it really becomes quickly like, oh, this is kind of like just show up on somebody's island, look at their island, and you got to bounce. But even beyond that, Have you done online stuff? Have you had a lot of visitors?
No, I've not had any visitors. I tried to visit Joey and I couldn't for some reason.
Yeah, communication errors, right? Over the weekend, I turned it on and opened my gates for my friend Sean to come visit. And when I did that, a whole bunch of other of my friends did. Like, I think it was Carboni and Jen, and it was like people who I want to come visit the island. But the problem is, the island grinds to a halt when someone comes or leaves. So like you'll be in the middle of something and you're running. I'm just trying to, go sell something to Timmy or whatever. And this thing comes across. It's like, oh, somebody's coming to the island. And then it's this whole fucking long load of getting them in, them landing, doing their thing. And it's not bad for if you're just inviting one person in and you're doing something. But when it was a million other people coming in, and then it was people trying to leave, but you can't leave while somebody's coming in, and only one person can leave at a time. And so it was just this like clusterfuck traffic jam of people trying to get in, try to get out. And I don't know who did that and like who planned this online or whatever and was like, this is the best it can be, this is what it should be, because it almost in some ways I'd almost rather it doesn't exist. If it was going to be like this, what they should have done, I feel like, is given us a common space to go to, where it's like I go to the market, we come back to this hometown or this, the capital city, and there I can sell my stuff to people who don't have I can sell my apples to somebody who doesn't have apples and make more money. I can trade items with my friends. I can talk to people. I can do it. And then if I really want to, bring somebody back to my island to show them the island. But outside of that, it just seems totally fucked up. And so then it begs the question of what I loved about Animal Crossing in college. And I've talked to a few different people, especially when I was playing it for review and they were asking me questions. What I loved was sharing a town with my friends, sharing a town with the people I lived with. And granted, you can do that on Switch right now locally. And as you know, you can't cloud save, you can't move stuff. So it's like, if we really wanted to, Jen and I could share the Switch and share a town that way. But then it is that thing of, if I'm playing it, she can't play it. And if she's playing it, I can't play it. And so that sucks. And that's what it was in college, which made sense and yada, yada, yada. But the fact that in 2020, Nintendo hasn't come up with an idea to give you a shared space, whether it be an Animal Crossing MMO where we do just live, like it is always online. You go in and you are living, it is 8 people in one map and you have to figure out, who's getting the pears today and who's doing whatever. And like, I know for a lot of people, they don't want an always online game. That's fine. But it could be an offshoot. It could be one of the spinoffs. It could be just a mode like I'm talking about, where it's like you have a hub to go to where you do, what if it was that, and this is changing a little bit of what Animal Crossing is, but what if it was that I had my town, and if I wanted to, I could go to this bazaar and I could lay down, my carpet or my mat or whatever, and I could sell my fruit. And when people came and bought them, then I would close it up. And it can be NPCs, it can be human beings. And then as I make more, I can actually upgrade to a shop and I can specialize my shop. And it is that in game, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have, some of the designs people are making are incredible.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So imagine if you could then, in this weird possible MMO that I'm talking about, or at least mode that is multiplayer, that once you get to a certain thing, you can specialize your shop. So you are a t-shirt place, you are a fruit stand, you are just, you'll craft tools for people. Like, there's a lot of really interesting ways that could go, I think, to share a space. And it could even be that it's you, it's me, it's Andy, it's Jen. And it's like, cool, I'm going to be the person who, I have a great orchard, I'll bring in all my fruit. So we got a fruit stand covered. And it's like, you're collaborating to build the best town square and then compare those squares to other people. Like, there's something there for that doesn't have to dominate the entire game. But the online they have right now is just so like tacked on to the point of like, oh, I don't even want to turn this on. I turn it on when it's like very specifically, yesterday I texted, I texted Amaris, and then she didn't answer. And I think I went to Goldfarb's town. Yeah, I went to Goldfarb's town. Or no, I went to Andy's town. And I was like, can I just sell some fucking apples? Thank you. I sold these apples and got the hell out.
Awesome.
So yeah, there's something there for sure.
You want them to build out the online is the main thing I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's my main complaint with it. And by no means do I need that. Like, you're seeing it already, I think, in terms of, the way it works of, once people do visit and you can send letters to them, no spoilers, but eventually the online way of sharing the designs you've made, not the AC website we're all using to make really weird things, the stuff you can make in game normally and share, like, that's all done well enough. That's all fine. But I think that there's still room for improvement on that one very specific part of it.
What then? This is an unrelated question, but still related, and
Sure.
in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter. But it's kind of funny, so we always gotta ask this. Do you think this game is gonna win Game of the Year? Like, it seems like Animal Crossing is breaking through in a way that feels kind of big.
Sure, I think that
in that way.
I don't think this is always such a loaded question of what do you mean by that? Yes, at some outlet, Animal Crossing will win Game of the Year. Mm-hmm. I don't think it will be the runaway. I don't think it's going to be the front runner. I don't think it's going to sweep. I don't think it's going to do that. Now, and I'm saying that, of course, talking out my butt, right? Because I don't know how good Last of Us is going to be. I don't know how good Cyberpunk is going to be. I don't know who's going to catch us off guard with something that we didn't even see coming. It's just that idea that as awesome as Animal Crossing is, I think whenever you get an IGN, a GameSpot, or whoever to sit down into a giant room and start arguing about Game of the Year, you get into, well, what is the gameplay of it? And like, what does that do? And is it pushing the industry? And is it doing this whole thing? And I think especially the online thing being so meh, like that's a knock against it. And obviously not a big knock, not enough to stop this, not enough for me to tell you not to buy this game, buy this fucking game. But I think if you get to a 10 out of 10, we think this is completely well-rounded. It has no weak spot. That's when it gets hard for that kind of game to win.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I feel like at this point, Game of the Year conversations have evolved so much in the way we look at Game of the Year. Like, I know there's a whole argument, especially last year, about like, is Game of the Year best game, or does it mean the game that most represents that year? And like, and my whole opinion is that we should separate those two things and just have a best game category and then a Game of the Year category, akin to like Person of the Year or something like that. But like, you know, with Untitled Goose Game winning both like DICE and GDC, I feel like people are starting to expand their horizons, their new horizons, if you will. Yeah. In terms of how we kind of look and how we judge that. And so my follow-up question then is, do you think it'll get nominated at Game Awards?
Yes.
For Game of the Year.
I think, and again, this is hard to do, right? Because I assume we're talking 5, right? So we're ballsy to be in March and be like, no, this is a lock. And I don't think it's a lock by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think it's made enough of an impact, made enough new fans, pushed the franchise forward enough that people, when they get there, will be like, yeah, this should be on the short list. I don't think it'll beat this, that, or the other, but I do see that it could actually break through and be on those lists. What do you think?
Exciting times. I wouldn't be surprised to see it nominated at this point. And once again, like, we're early in the year, so it's kind of hard to judge for sure. But like, yeah, seeing Animal Crossing beat out, let's say, Final Fantasy VII Remake and Cyberpunk and Last of Us, like, it's gonna be like, it's a large ask. That said, I feel like at this point, like I said, I feel like we've expanded our horizons in terms of how we look at games and how we judge games, and how, like, because no pun intended, but comparing Animal Crossing to like Last of Us, for example, is very, very apples and oranges. Like, it's hard for me to really say which game is better than the other. Like, my 100%. Preference is probably going to be Last of Us because that's my type of game. But Last of Us is just a different game than Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I can understand anybody being like, I prefer Animal Crossing New Horizons over Last of Us. That makes total sense to me because different games. Totally. With that said, like, within that context, I think it'll come down to like, who are the people judging, who are the people looking at the games, how much should certain games improve over their previous titles. Like, it's going to come down to a lot of things, but we'll see.
I mean, like, and this is such a great conversation, Blessing. You're a great host, because if Gary was here, he would have just fucking yelled about GameStop and then left. I think the other big wrinkle to this that we need to talk about too is what we're talking about with Mike's review, right? Is that art is subjective, and we all bring our own lens, opinion, baggage, whatever you want to call it, emotions to it. And I do think that you've seen it a lot with even critiques of Last of Us, right? Of Last of Us Part 2 trailers, of they were too violent. Is this like gore porn kind of thing? Like, there's going to be an audience that by the time that game comes out is worn down by the way 2020 has been going, and maybe still won't want that kind of experience and won't want this post-pandemic world that's been built up, right? I see that a lot right now with Division, whereas when I talk about playing the Division, and I saw it earlier in the Twitch chat go by, that people are like, yeah, this is why I can't play Division right now, is that it is too close to home, right? Like, and it's not lost on me as I run around a world that was ravaged by this virus, and there's all these signs up that are like, you know, wash your hands, literally wash your hands, be part of the solution. Like, I get why that game as a turnoff to people. I get why, and I know that this isn't something I think that gets talked about a lot, and I don't even want to say enough because it's an interesting anecdote, right? Anecdote. I've been screwing that up lately. Division just put out Warlords of New York, right? Like its biggest expansion to date, added New York, did all this stuff. Their season or their battle pass is going. The game is firing on all cylinders and amazing, and they aren't promoting it. Ubisoft is not talking about this game. Like you don't see ads for it. You don't, I mean, like you saw when Warlords came out, they sent us a pizza and stuff. But even then, right, that was the week before we closed everything down. That was the week before we had the conversation of we should have come to work the next week. So like you figure we are 3 weeks removed right now, right, from that expansion launching, and they aren't talking about it because they know they can't. Like, how do you talk about that right now?
I feel so bad for RE3 and even Last of Us. Like, I wonder how much this whole quarantine situation is going to affect games within the next few years, or even within the next decade. Like, do we start seeing less post-apocalyptic games? Do we start seeing less games that have to do with pandemics and quarantine? Like, what happens with Rainbow Six Quarantine or not Rainbow Six? Is it Rainbow Six?
No.
Yeah, it is Rainbow Six.
Yeah, Rainbow Six. Yeah.
Rainbow Six Quarantine.
And so, like, I'm sorry. So this is obviously a long-winded thing, but to go all the way back to the point I was trying to make is, when you get to Game of the Year, what's the game you've spent the most time in, and what's the game that's resonated the most? And to what we're saying is, if Animal Crossing continues this trajectory right now of being this escape, being this pure experience, being this thing where you're just going in and like, even though I think the multiplayer has so much room for improvement, it is funny when Joey and Caroline show up on my island and hit me in the head with nets. Well, that was Jen hitting me in the head with nets. Or Joey and Caroline come and they just blow the ocarina off key around me forever. Like, those are key memories of this thing when I couldn't go see Joey, this person I work with, and I can't go talk to her. And that could still resonate and carry and continue to be this like pure memory that gets people there to the end of the year, and they vote that way, and it's totally reasonable and okay.
Yeah. Especially when Animal Crossing seems like the game that is kind of being the light in kind of the darkness right now, right? There's not that many games that are being that, and maybe there will be. Sports Story is going to come out sometime within the next, I guess, summer. It's going to come out, and there are going to be games that are going to be lighthearted and positive, but we'll see, Greg.
Well, speaking of games that are light-hearted and positive that are selling really well, number 2, Doom Eternal has broken its franchise sales record. Bethesda Softworks, a ZeniMax media company, is proud to announce the critical and commercial success of the launch of Doom Eternal, which has quickly broken the franchise record for opening weekend sales, doubling the launch revenue of Doom 2016. Doom Eternal was the best-selling game on Steam for the week and immediately soared to over 100,000 concurrent players on the platform. Not too shabby.
Yeah, good for them. Doom Eternal is an incredible game, so it deserves it.
You have a review up right now, right, on the Kind of Funny Gamescast.
Yeah, kindoffunny.com/ or kind of youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, Gamescast feed, all that stuff. It's there. And we all say play it. It's a great game.
So now this is, us piggybacking off of Animal Crossing doing so well and being so pure and all that stuff. Like, does this totally poke a hole in all the arguments we were making that Animal Crossing is this beautiful thing that's a distraction from how rough the world is right now? But Doom, where you're literally fighting the demons of hell, isn't?
I feel like Doom kind of gets away with it a bit because Doom is as hardcore and as violent as that game is. It's still like a very colorful game. Like, it's colorful in a different way, and it's like kind of goofy in its own ways, and
100%
is like blood pumping. Like, it's not necessarily like dark and gritty, and
it's not grounded, right?
Yeah, it's not grounded.
Division, we're talking about Last of Us, games that are meant to be like, this is just 3 degrees off your real world.
Yeah, I feel like Doom Eternal. There's a common theme between kind of all of us in that review talking about how at a certain point you kind of enter the Matrix in that game, and you are just like it becomes such a gameplay focused thing where you are you're in it, you're moving so fast in that game, and you're dying to gain health or armor or ammo, and you get in the rotation, and your mind kind of just leaves and just enters the game, and you're just there. And I think Doom Eternal actually is a perfect example of a game that is an escape. It's a game that you can kind of go to, and you can kind of free it all the troubles of the world, and just kind of, I don't want to say live in it, because I don't think people should live in Doom Eternal, but like, you can escape into it, and I think it is what it is, weirdly of the same ilk as Animal Crossing. Like, these two games came out on the same day. It's kind of a crazy but great thing, I think.
Sure. And it was great to see them, thrive
Embrace
together.
it.
Yeah, right. And the
Yeah.
audience is not pit them against each other, because I think when they are such polar opposites, it was awesome. To see all the fan art for Isabel and stuff. Worth pointing out, everybody, and this is not going to be something we promote. So as always, we want to reward you for watching or listening to the show. We have a Doom Eternal Xbox One code. We're going to be giving it away. All you have to do is make sure you're following Kind of Funny Vids. Retweet this today's post when Barrett puts it up on Kind of Funny Vids Twitter of this Kind of Funny Games Daily. Just give it a retweet. Make sure you're following, and we will randomly grab somebody and give it away. Again, Doom Eternal Xbox One code from our friend Mr. Amazon. Thank you for sending that in.
Whoa.
Number 3 on the Roper Report. Let's talk about Nintendo and COVID. Blessing Eddie Oye Jr. I got two stories for you. Ready?
I'm ready.
First off, Nintendo donated a bunch of masks. This is from the northbendwashington.org. This is northbendwa.org, just the government page for North Bend. North Bend is home to the North American production facility of the world's largest video gaming company. Nintendo has been, quote, putting smiles on faces of everyone Nintendo touches, according to their corporate social responsibility statement. Today is no different. Nintendo representative Jerry Danson contacted East Side Fire and Rescue to generously donate over 9,500 N95 particulate respirator masks. The N95 respirator masks and other personal protective equipment are among the most requested items for first responders and healthcare providers. Danson stated the masks were originally purchased for emergency preparedness planning. However, amidst the COVID-19 crisis, he knew they were needed elsewhere. Eastside Fire and Rescue staff will distribute the masks throughout the region to address immediate needs, including the city of North Bend. This crisis is unprecedented. The safety and security of community members is paramount in our daily mission. The communities served by City of North Bend and Eastside Fire and Rescue deeply appreciate the generous donation from Nintendo. So, hey, good on you, Nintendo.
Good on you, Nintendo.
I thought it was cool they did it. Yeah, and I thought it's nice to see. Obviously, people started preparing for this, and then for Nintendo to look there and be like, all right, this isn't really what we need. We don't need 9,500 masks right now.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this within the last week, and at first I was like, why do all these companies have masks? Like, I think one of the ones I saw was like Pornhub donated, I think like 50,000 masks or something like that, and I was like sitting there like, why does Pornhub have all these masks? And then like you kind of learn that they collect them in case of emergencies or like fire emergencies or whatever it may be, and so it's cool to see companies kind of come through and donate for the cause.
And then continuing on this is another Nintendo tidbit for you. This is from them, Nintendo themselves. They've shut down their U.S. repair centers due to preventative measures put in place for COVID-19 coronavirus, and in accordance with federal and local guidelines. Our repair centers are closed until further notice. We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate your understanding. Once repair services resume, we will work as quickly as possible to get you playing again. Please note that during this closure, products sent in for repair may be returned to you as undeliverable. If our repair center has already received your product, it will remain there until repair services resume.
I take back everything I said. How dare you, Nintendo?
You sons of bitches.
I understand. I get it.
Yeah, no, again, and another one where that's great. Good job on you, Nintendo, of taking care of your employees, obviously. And granted, it's because of guidelines, but hey, the messaging's clear. This is what we're doing. Sorry, let's get it out there for everybody.
Yeah.
Number 4 for you, Blessing. NASCAR is now officially esports. Luke Plunkett at Kotaku has this. After a successful first virtual NASCAR race over the weekend, where a mix of current and former drivers raced each other online and a lot of people watched, Fox and NASCAR have decided that they're going to broadcast a whole season of it on TV. The first eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series held on Sunday was, like Formula One's move to video game competition, a chance for both drivers and fans to get some kind of racing fix in these weird and challenging times. In first place was 3-time Daytona 500 winner Denny Hamlin, and nearly 1 million people watched it on Fox. So now, a whole season of it called Fox NASCAR iRacing is going to take place. That's the update, the fact that that's already happened. I wanted to read about the actual event itself. I'm going from Steve Gardner at USA Today's original report. For sports fans who've gone nearly 2 weeks without any live events, Fox Sports 1 offered an attractive alternative to Sunday's postponed NASCAR Cup Series race at Homestead Miami Speedway. But instead of actual cars trading paint in close quarters around the 1.5-mile oval, the drivers, including Dale Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, Kurt and Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, Alex Bowman, and Joey Logano, practiced proper social distancing as they competed from their own video game consoles in a virtual 100-lap race. Quote, "We know this is not real racing," play-by-play announcer Mike Joy told the FS1 audience, "but it's not a video game either. iRacing is a very sophisticated simulation that real drivers as well as armchair racers use and compete against each other, end quote. Coverage of the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series was structured just like the network's regular NASCAR broadcast. From a pre-race prayer, parentheses, from Motor Racing Outreach President Billy Maudlin, and national anthem, Curb Records artist Dylan Scott, to the engine-roaring Crank It Up feature. Once the green flag dropped, however, an all-out video game mentality prevailed as veteran gamers and professional drivers started jockeying for track position. Crashes and caution flags were hard to avoid, especially with the iRacing rule that each car can have its damage reset twice during the race to new like conditions. As a result, there were a few long runs in between multiple caution periods. The drivers completed their laps around the virtual track, lined with actual sponsor billboards and packed grandstands, gave a collective roar when perennial fan favorite Earnhardt took the lead near the race's midpoint. All the while, the broadcast shifted from camera shots of leaders to an overhead view of a first person looking from the driver's seat. Quote, "Where I'm blown away right now is when I look at the steering from Chase Elliott and I hear the throttle. It's so realistic," FS1 analyst and 4-time NASCAR Cup champion Jeff Gordon marveled. "When I run a race at Homestead, that's exactly what it felt like." Blessing.
That's really cool.
Right? That's really awesome. Yeah. And it's something we talked about earlier in this whole thing when the NBA started doing some of their games, right? They were like, I forget who it was. One of the sports teams, kindafunny.com/you're-wrong, or one of the basketball teams, made a point of playing their games on Twitch or whatever and putting them out that way and actually treating it on social media like it was the real thing. It's a great way to see games and games and tech or whatever bridge this gap and give people something to still come around, right? Something to rally around.
Yeah, exactly. And I think NASCAR specifically kind of translates well to the game because they're similar. Like NBA 2K, for example, you kind of have control of all the players, and like there's not really the physicality there and that you would have with like an actual basketball game. And like it's a similar kind of way of thinking as far as like all the passing, all that stuff, and all the team plays. But you're not playing basketball by playing 2K. You're not really doing NASCAR by playing the NASCAR game, but I feel like it translates a lot better. Like
and putting in the real drivers, right? Like having them in these racing rigs. That's awesome.
Yeah, in the racing rigs and all that stuff. Like that's a really cool thing, and it's cool to see that crossover there. And I was looking on Twitter because I tweeted out in February. It looks like so Gran Turismo. They have I don't know. It's called the FIA GTC Nations Cup, which happens in Sydney. Okay. And they tweet out. I'm gonna retweet it on my Twitter. But it's like it's a 1.5-minute video of the finale to the cup, and it is the most exciting. Like it's an extremely exciting thing for what what my experience with like NASCAR or racing is. This isn't NASCAR, but like for what racing is. Like the competitive scene seems really cool and really awesome and very entertaining to watch. And so I urge people like check it out, see if it's for you. I was shocked by how cool this thing was.
Nano Biologist writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames, just like you can, to be part of the show, and says, "Happy Widow Wednesday, Gary and Greg." Remember, Gary's a traitor and not here. NASCAR just announced that their racers are moving to iRacing to continue to race with each other, and the races are being broadcast on TV. With NASCAR, F1, and NBA moving to esports to continue to give fans some sense of sports seasons continuing, do you think this will help get rid of the stigma of esports not being sports? Previously, heroes of the dorm, Fortnite World Cup, etc. were laughed at and ridiculed for being on TV, but with games that show normal sports being played digitally, is this the first step to progress and the general public accepting esports to be an actual sporting event? Thanks, Nanobiologist. Bless.
I feel like we got the first steps a while ago. Like I feel like we're not necessarily at the point, I guess, where esports are just generally like accepted on ESPN.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Overwatch League being as big as it is, seeing pictures of like the Rainbow Six Siege Invitational, like seeing these actual esports, like seeing the I forget the League of Legends thing, like both the League of Legends and Dota, like the big championships that they have in like Seattle and stuff, like seeing how big those are and seeing how much attention they get. I think we're at a place where that stuff is already legitimized. I don't think the stuff necessarily needs to be on ESPN. And I kind of understand like the weirdness of putting some esports on ESPN because you kind of associate
ESPN with like
kind of
physical competition, like people in person doing stuff.
Yeah, I think it'd be even cooler if there was either like an ESPN spinoff channel or like even a whole channel dedicated on TV to specifically esports, because I feel like that'd be more digestible for people and it'd make more sense given that esports. I personally view esports and traditional sports differently, just for either the physicality of it or the history and tradition of them. Like they're just different to me.
I mean, esports is so new in the scene, and I think that's the thing with any new sport, right? Where it takes a while to get going. I remember, and I know that it was very different when I was growing up, but I remember when UFC was just looked at as like a joke, and like it was people like basically murdering each other. And I also know that because the original rules of UFC, it was people basically murdering each other, but it's now legitimized, right? And I think that you're still seeing those steps early on right now with esports. But to your point, when you look at Dota's championship called the International, thanks Nano Biologist.
International, thank you.
And you see giant arenas there, or you look at like when Andy goes to the Dallas Fuel and the production value and like the giant audience they have there, you're talking about, as always, this younger generation participating in something that by the time they become an older generation, it's the norm. It's normal. It's the same way of growing up for me, where I was not weird, but I was one of the few video game kids, right? Like video games weren't ubiquitous for everyone loving them and being into them like I am. And now you get there and like, oh no, video games are ubiquitous, right? Like kids hang out in Fortnite all the time, let alone right now.
But do you think that we'll get to a point where we view esports within the same realm as just sports, the way that UFC is kind of viewed as a sport? Because I don't know if I'm at that place. Like, I don't think one is better than the other by any means, but like I kind of still have that separation in mind.
It's so hard to say because I think we're all so hung up on what we define as sports, and everybody defines that a little bit differently. I think the easier way, like, because I think of like the sports page or whatever covering this, or, to what ESPN's trying to do, I think it comes down to no longer talking about it as sports, but talking about it as competition. Right. Like, I think because that's the thing is there are winners and losers here. There are matches happening all the time and all these different games and all these different things. And I think that if esports continues in, League of Legends and Dota and Rocket League, and they continue to thrive and make these things and make these strides for people. And again, like Mizzou having an esports team is fucking ridiculous and awesome. If that continues to be a thing, you have to cover that in a way that becomes, well, where the hell are we going to put these results? And I think those results make sense on the sports page. And so I don't know if you rename it the competition page, but I think by the time you get to that point where I'm looking for that kind of information in the mainstream press or whoever wants to cover it, those walls have already fallen down. Also worth, for You're Wrong, Nano Biologist hit me up on the kindoffunny.com/you're wrong, just like you can. Phoenix Suns were the NBA team that have been playing some games online and treating them like real. So that's cool. Number 5, rounding out a very long Roper report. This has been a very good discussion. Thank you so much.
It has been.
Just Cause's Avalanche rebrands. This is Matt Purslow at IGN. Avalanche Studios, the developer behind the Just Cause series, has rebranded itself as Avalanche Studios Group. Alongside the rebrand, the company has also teased a new FPS game. The change to Avalanche Studios Group allows the company to recognize its 3 creative divisions, which are made up of Avalanche Studios, Expansive Worlds, and Systemic Reaction. Avalanche Studios will continue to focus on AAA titles such as Just Cause and Rage 2. Expansive Worlds is dedicated to outdoor games like The Hunter, Call of the Wilds. And then Systemic Worlds is the group's self-publishing brand, which has previously released Generation Zero and is now working on a new, as of yet, unannounced game.
That's really cool. Good for them.
And then my one note here is that this makes it no less confusing that there's also Avalanche Studios in Salt Lake City that did Disney Infinity.
I was legit trying to like organize that in my mind. I was like, okay, so this Avalanche is the one that did Just Cause and Rage 2?
That's right. Yeah. It's that thing where like if you're it's like it probably is such a moot point now. But when Disney Infinity was a thing, that's when it was so confusing if we were talking about. Now it's so rare you ever have any conversation because Avalanche Studios in Salt Lake hasn't done anything lately.
Yeah, I want to see this Avalanche Studios group, I guess, get like a big win because they're talented over there. But I feel like you look at like Just Cause, and Just Cause I feel like kind of peaked early by like Just Cause 2. Rage 2, I don't think set the world on fire the way that they probably wanted to when you look at the other but that's the published first-person shooters, being like Wolfenstein and Doom, and I know Prey didn't get all that success either, but Rage 2 and Prey are probably within the same kind of ilk of success. And then like I couldn't tell you anything about the Hunter Call of
and
the
they were
Wild.
like, yeah, Generation Zero is out. I was like, what? Do I even know? If I saw Generation Zero, would I know?
I want to say Generation Zero was actually a game that I was excited for, but then came out to like middling reviews. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, me
to
too.
make sure I don't have it mixed up in my head. Yeah, this is the game that I was like, oh snap! Like I was excited for this game, and as far as I know, it came out and kind of like.
I've never heard of it. I'm sure there's a clip of me reading the release date or something on Games Daily, but I'm watching the gameplay trailer from August 16th, 2018. It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
First person shooter. I'm fighting some kind of robot.
So I'm if this, helps them to kind of get to the place where they're able to function the best they can, good for them. I want to see them get a win because I think they're like really talented, but they just haven't had that that thing that worked.
Totally.
Recently.
Blessing. I can't wait to see what Avalanche Studios group comes up with. But their next game is so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, say what came to the mom and grab shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Before I tell you about that, let me tell you about our sponsors. Remember, you can write into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to be part of the show, but you can also get the show ad-free over there. Speaking of ads, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by QUIP. QUIP, makers of the QUIP electric toothbrush, want you to know one single discovery that matters most to your dental care. It's simply this: if you have good habits, you're good. That means brushing twice for 2 minutes a day and flossing regularly, no matter what brand you use. QUIP makes that simple, starting with an electric toothbrush, refillable floss, and anti-cavity toothpaste. QUIP's electric brush has sensitive sonic vibrations with a built-in timer and 30-second pulses to guide a full and even clean. The QUIP floss dispenser comes with pre-marked string to help you use just enough. Plus, QUIP delivers fresh brush heads, floss, and toothpaste refills to your door every 3 months with free shipping, so your routine is always right. Everybody here at Kind of Funny uses it. I used my QUIP this morning. Jen used hers this morning. I know Tim probably, when he wakes up in 3 hours, will wake it and use it, because that's how you do it. It helps you do it well. And as Nick said, like, who knew we weren't brushing our teeth long enough? But with this, it's every 30 seconds tells you to pulse. You're like, this is a full 2 minutes, and I was not doing this before. Join over 3 million healthy mouths and get QUIP today, starting at just $25. And if you go to getquip.com/games right now, you'll get your first refill for free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/games. GETQUIP.com/games. QUIP, the Good Habits Company. We're also brought to you by ExpressVPN. You all want to hear some insider information? So we all know how ExpressVPN protects your privacy and security online, right? But here's something you might not know. You can also use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are available only in other countries. Now that so many of us are stuck at home, it's only a matter of time until you run out of things to watch on Netflix. That's why this whole week, a bunch of people we know have been using ExpressVPN to binge shows like Doctor Who on UK Netflix and others. It's so simple to do. You just fire up the ExpressVPN app, change your location to the UK, refresh Netflix, and that's it. Bam. Suddenly you're in jolly old England. Oh, I have not. ExpressVPN hides your IP address and lets you control where you want sites to think you're located. You can choose from almost 100 different countries. So just think about all the Netflix libraries you can go through. Love anime? Use ExpressVPN to access Japanese Netflix and be spirited away. But it's not just Netflix. ExpressVPN works for any streaming service. Hulu, BBC, iPlayer, YouTube, you name it. There are hundreds of VPNs out there, but the reason you should use ExpressVPN to watch shows is that it's ridiculously fast. There's never any buffering or lag, so you can stream in HD no problem. ExpressVPN is also compatible with all your devices, phones, media consoles, smart TVs, and more, so you can watch what you want on your personal device or the big screen whenever and wherever you want. If you visit our special link right now at expressvpn.com/games, you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Support the show, watch what you want, and protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/games. Out today. Iron Danger on PC. Breaking Blocks on PC and Mac. Northern Tale 5 Revival on PC. Lock and Load Tactical Digital on PC and Mac. Mists of Noya on PC. There's a free DLC launching today for SD Gundam G Generation Cross Rays. James O'Connor at GameSpot reports The Crew 2 is getting another major update, and it's due today, March 25th, on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The update, named Inner Drive, will introduce 20 new cars to the game, including the Koenigsegg Jesko 2020 and the Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. It won't cost you a thing either. New dates for you. Mars Horizon is having a beta on April 27th. Yes, that's my birthday. Will I be allowed out of the house? Let's see. Beat Saber's Timbaland music pack releases tomorrow, March 26th.
Greg,
yeah.
I'm very excited for this.
I was going to say, you've been playing so much Beat Saber. Have you bought all the other DLCs and stuff? Is this a specific one?
This is a specific one. Well, here's the thing. I've been buying all the Beat Saber packs because since I'm on PlayStation, that means that we don't get all like the fan creation stuff that people get on PC, and so I'm stuck with whatever Beat games will give me. And they do a pretty good job of having like a regular rotation in music. We got the Green Day one, we got the Imagine Dragons one, and
was there
my whole thing.
Disco one, or am I making that up?
I want to say yes. I think that might be the one that I didn't buy because I don't really care about Panic at the Disco like that. And I don't even care about Green Day like that. But actually, no. I might have that flipped. I might have the Panic at the Disco one, and I don't have the Green Day one. That might be it. But I overall though, like I've kind of wanted more because Beat Saber traditionally music is pretty like electronic, and then they kind of with all the updates, right, with all the packs, they kind of go into more like pop rock kind of stuff. And I've always been someone who I've always asked for something that's more hip hop focused, or something that is more like aimed towards my sensibilities, and Timbaland is the perfect choice for somebody who has like some he's pop, but he has some hip hop sounds in there. So I was very excited when I saw that Timbaland was putting out a pack for this. But the thing that upset me is that apparently it's not like the classic Timbaland songs. Like you're not going to get Apologize featuring One Republic. You're not going to get Bounce with Missy Elliott and all them. You're not going to get The Way I Are. Apparently Timbaland is putting out like 5 new songs for this pack, which is exciting. But not as.
You want the jams. You want the classic jams.
I wanted the classic Timbaland songs. I wanted the Justin Timberlake. I wanted all that stuff. But apparently, we might not be getting that with this new pack.
Huh. Well, I'm sorry, Blessing. They broke your heart.
They did.
Continuing new dates, Eddie at GameSpot reports Call of Duty Warzone and Modern Warfare are bringing back a DLC pack that benefits military veterans. Activision's Call of Duty Endowment Charity, which helps place veterans in jobs after their military careers, has announced that the Defender DLC pack is coming back to the digital store because, quote, in these difficult times, veterans need more help with employment than ever, end quote. Awesome. Lost Words Beyond the Page and The Crew 2 come to Stadia next week. Below comes to PlayStation 4 on April 7th. And then the Birds of Prey DLC comes to DC Universe Online April 16th. Blessing, download DCUO now. Get ready.
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now.
You're not doing it. I can see you not doing it.
I'm not.
Coward. Deals of the day for you. IGN was reporting that the Ubisoft Spring Sale ends today. You can get on there and get Assassin's Creed Odyssey for $19, Far Cry New Dawn for $16, Rainbow Six Siege for $8, The Division 2 for $9. And then Stadia Pro is getting new games added on April 1st. They're going to be Spitlings, Serious Sam Collection, and Stacks on Stacks, parentheses, on Stacks. Blessing.
Yep.
Are you prepared to squat up?
I am very prepared.
Fernando Rodriguez writes in to Patreon, kindoffunny.com/Patreon. I saved it. It gives me this squad up request. Of course, you give us your name, your username, platform of choice, what you need help in. We read it here. People come and find you. Everybody plays games together. Fernando needs help on Switch. You'll be hitting up when you do this. If you do it right, you'll be getting olives, but no E. The Switch code is 2183 79 00 54 27. Hello, KFGD crew. My birthday was a couple of days ago, and I got for myself my first ever Nintendo console, the Nintendo Switch. And for my first game, I got Animal Crossing. So, since this is by far the best community out there, I wanted to invite all the Kind of Funny best friends to visit my island. I have no friends on my account, so please add me heart. Stay safe and keep your heads up, heart. Fernando, I agree. Everyone keep your heads up. Hit Fernando up on Switch. Again, olives, no E, SW 21 83 79 00 54 27. Bless. We ask people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up, as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. Kebabs leads off and says, you can buy things on somebody else's Animal Crossing island. You cannot mail fish, sadly. The communication error occurs when players are in menus or talking to a villager. Another, what we're talking about of like, what a boneheaded decision of being prepared for somebody to come and not get there. And the other thing is like, what is it? You can't place items, right? Because you can't like things on it. If you're on your island, you can't put down things when other people are visiting because it's just dumb. And
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That seems very like
it screws everything up. Where I was trying to download the T-shirts that I was getting offline or whatever, and when people are on my island, you can't do that either. Like it's got a bunch of little restrictions like that. It's like, oh well, I want to be off my island so I can get back to doing what I was doing. Nano Biologist says Miss Deal of the Day. Child of Light is free right now on PC via the Uplay launcher.
I also have a missed deal of the day for you, Greg. This comes from Cheap Ass Gamer on Twitter at Video Game Deals. Kids meals are $1.99 each via Sonic. If you want to go to the Sonic Drive-In, this ends April 30th. Kids meals are $2 each. Now
you say that. Why did you pick this?
Wow.
What does this have to do with anything video game related?
That's a great deal. Holy shit.
Yeah, $2 for your kids meal. We talked about. I don't know if you listened to Kind of Funny Games Daily yesterday, Greg. Literally half the show we talked about Sonic Drive-In. And me, Kevin, and Imran are planning to go during this quarantine time, but we will stay 6 feet apart because Imran.
Oh, so you're gonna bring different cars?
Yeah, because it's a drive-in, so I'm gonna drive myself. Kevin is gonna pick up Imran, but Imran's gonna stay in the trunk of Kevin's car and not leave, or take one of Kevin's other cars because Kevin has multiple cars.
It's true. It's true. Tomorrow, Kind of Funny Games Daily will be back. It'll be me and Ben Hansen from MinMax. Then Friday, it's me and Blessing rounding out your week. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. There's a Patreon post show coming up on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. We'll be talking some questions here that we got from BJ Bernardo. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can give us your questions, comments, concerns, squad ups, everything under the video game sun. Then you can watch it live if you want. Twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You can watch it later. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. You can watch it on Rooster Teeth. You can get it as a podcast. If you don't go to Patreon, though, you got to listen to the ads, and you don't get the post show, which is a bum deal if you ask me. Blessing.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming today. Hold on.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure having you as always. So now, great PS. I love you last week or yesterday too. I guess you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So I'm gonna try to shake your hand because I can see through Kevin's confidence.
All right.
So it's the other way. Other way. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.